Has Ukraine liberated Andriivka, and are they continuing to push in Bakhmut? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. It's September 15th, 2023. This is your daily Ukraine update. Let's get into it. Okay, taking a look at the combat map, there's been one significant change as of early this morning. Ukrainian armed forces liberating the village of Andriivka. Now, as we know, this is just a small, just a few streets, but it has been a Russian stronghold for some time. You can see the way it acts as a sort of salient or a fortress, so to speak, along this line. Otherwise, right, linking Kurdyumivka to Klishchivka, and this is the rest of this line is these dual windbreaks separated by a rail line. And this is almost like a naturally occurring, doctrinally sound Russian defensive position, right? Two trenches, an open area in between, so there's no cover and concealment, and to highly when the primary line is breached, Russian forces in this second line will counterattack immediately. And this whole line is kind of anchored by Andriivka, this small village. But now, right, it looks like Russian forces withdrew from the village and Ukrainian forces moved in. Now, what's significant about that, about seeing soldiers from the 72nd Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade pull out like that, is that it's a sign that Russian forces are actually starting to have to make some pretty tough calls, right? I always call it robbing Peter to pay Paul, or trading or making only bad choices, right? And Russia's looking, I think, across its battlefield to find areas where it can shore up its troops, where it can defend more efficiently in order to deploy those troops in areas of heavy fighting, especially near Robotyne and Verbova. So when you see that sort of thing, when you see that sort of thing, it's a sign that commanders are low on resources. It's one of the reasons, as we talked about yesterday, that Russia is trying to reach deep into its mobilization playbook, though even Russia realizes it can't actually go ahead and conduct a full-scale draft. Politically, it's just not feasible, but they need to find more troops and more equipment for those troops. It's why Russia and North Korea conducted their recent meeting. It's why there's been so much talk of additional mobilization drafts. It's why every one of the leaked calls that we hear about involves Russian soldiers being coerced to sign and extend their contracts. It's because, again, obviously there was fighting, but this appears to be a Russian commander's decision to withdraw from this area and have Ukrainian forces move in and occupying it. Now, what's also interesting is that when we look over at the combat map, there's been some additional changes. First off, of course, they recognize the liberation of Andriivka, but more significant is that there's also that Ukrainian defense forces are saying they have entered the village of Klishchivka. So likely there's going to be a period of clearing operations, and then they're likely to move into this village, which would be two fairly quick hit liberations. And I think a sign perhaps that Ukrainian forces may be starting to pivot their offensive look into this Bakhmut region. Again, this is somewhere where Russian forces spent the 6 months that they spent digging in and deploying mines in Zaporizhzhia. They spent those same 6 months going on offense, right? Not building fortifications, not establishing obstacles, but moving forward. And we're still, the units that did that fighting, the Wagner group, they're gone. Their entire chain of command is gone. So there is no, what we call in the military, continuity. So these units that have fallen in, they don't understand whatever Wagner was working on, they have no idea about it. They're starting from scratch in terms of building a defensive plan. Now, obviously, that's not to say that they haven't established some defensive positions. You can see there's pretty robust defensive positions established here to the east of Bakhmut, but it's nothing like what we're seeing in Zaporizhzhia, where the defenses are just at an almost unprecedented level. Anyway, guys, before we get into the updates on Twitter or X, I wanted to quick talk about this project that I've been working on for almost a year now, Strike Gum. This is a zero sugar pre-workout gum. We've got 90 milligrams of caffeine in every single piece and 100 milligrams of alpha GPC. So if you're interested in getting what's basically the equivalent of an entire energy drink in a single piece of gum, but with none of the sugar or calories, and plus your breath won't smell like, weird rock energy drink. It just smells like mint. It's just refreshing mint flavor. You can get some at strikegum.com. And of course, we also, if you're someone who really wants to try to replace your energy drink habit with Strike Gum, we have a subscription feature so that you can get a box or even several packs delivered to you right at a discount if you subscribe and save. So do check it out. And of course, we also have an affiliate program if you're interested in that. But best of all about Strike Gum, 50% of the profits of this first production run, I am going to be donating to Ukrainian charities that support civilians who've been injured or displaced in the conflict. So you can get a just objectively better, less expensive alternative to energy drinks and support Ukraine. Everybody wins. Anyway, taking a look at the situation, we're going to size up what's happening on X. First off, when we talk about Novoprokopivka, we're just going to try to find some of the maps here. This says as of 2 hours ago, right, that there's the 47th Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces is continuing to attack this very detailed account called Koba, that there's some level of success south of Robtina. There's continued fighting outside of Kopani. Ukrainian attacks continue near Verbova. Right there, it sounds like these guys are trading back and forth while other Russian forces continue to dig in. So as you can see, the fighting looking very heavily contested between looks like the 78th Regiment, Skala, fighting here near Novoprokopivka, as well as continued Ukrainian attacks near Verbova and Ukrainian counterattacks near Kopani. So they're really trying to push this salient out, probably as Russia is counterattacking and really fighting to dig in. I want to take a quick look at Klishchivka. If I can spell it. Klishchivka. Okay, let's see if I can spell Klishchivka correctly. That's got to be like the first step in all this. Otherwise, I won't be able to search for anything. Klishchivka. Oh man, yeah, I don't. All right, Klishchivka. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's doing that thing again. All right. Klishchivka. Okay. All right, here it is. All right, let's pop this into the search box and see what we get for Klishchivka. Okay. Way fewer updates. Just a lot of footage. Again, even this is actually looks like Rybar. This is a classic Rybar map. Even they are reporting that Klishchivka, Ukrainian forces basically liberating the entire village. So I think we're going to see that next. That's probably next on the docket. If even these Rybar type Russian sources are acknowledging this has occurred, then it's pretty likely that that Russian forces have also withdrawn from Klishchivka and Andriivka. In fact, this actually reports that Belarusian Legion are already planting the flag and saying it's happened. So this, to me, is a really telling sign that the number of Russian forces sort of pinned trying to fight the Ukrainians in the south has meant that basically there's significant Russian forces that are abandoning or simply unable to continue the fight in and around Bakhmut. Anyway, the other that's really the only biggest news that we've got, guys. As always, thanks to everybody that supports us, but a special thank you to the members of combatvetnews.com, including our Colonel tier members, our Lieutenant tier members, and all the members of combatvetnews.com. I couldn't do this without you guys. See you in the next one. Cheers.